Hey guys, how's it going? What's happening? Giant coffee because I'm in Texas today. Oops, just dripped right on the computer. That's not good. Start off big uh, by making a mistake. But anyway, yeah, Texas-sized coffee. There we go. I'm in Dallas, playing a place called the Bomb Factory tonight. I've got this pillow in the dressing room. What are you guys doing? What's happening out there? Hello from Wisconsin, says Mark. And we got Braxall. And we got Joe. He says he's recording a solo album. That's cool. First solo record. That's a big deal. Congratulations. That should be a fun and rewarding and sometimes challenging, but ultimately rewarding endeavor. Yeah, I love the idea of everybody doing that. Getting your musical yayas out there. See if people want to come along for the ride. If they do, that's great. If they don't, that's okay too. And nothing put me more at peace than making my first solo album. I think it was a good thing. I didn't even expect it, but it was a good thing for me to get done and out there in the world. So, spiritually speaking and artistically speaking, Aaron, recommend compressor pedal for clean humbucker guitar sound. I mean, I don't know specifically, like single coil versus humbucker, if I would recommend anything in particular. I use the woodshed right now. I feel like in a mini compressor, which is all I really had room for on my pedal board, that it provided the widest range of, well, just a great tone, first of all, but also a nice wide range of options. It's got adjustable attack time on a switch and adjustable threshold and release. And I guess it's kind of a fixed, adjustable threshold and ratio, I should say. I think it's kind of a fixed release, but it just seems to work well. I also use the Unit 67 from Drybell as a boost compressor tonal, like slate EQ. It's like a colored boost, really, that happens to have some compression and EQ in it and stuff as well. Got my timer telling me to. Oh, actually, I'm gonna set another timer. I gotta remember to get my. Remind me in 1 hour to get my buyout. So okay. A buyout is when, for those of you that don't tour and stuff, every day when you play, you either get a catered meal usually, if you're on a proper kind of run, there will either be catering at a venue, or they will give each band and crew member a buyout, which is like a little money for the day to go eat, and that's something that's negotiated when you do by the, I guess, between the band manager and the promoter or something, or booking agent, the promoter, booking agent, the promoter. I never know who does it, but it's always like, guys, we got a $20 buyout today, or maybe it's a $30 buyout, maybe it's a $15 buyout, or maybe it's a $40 buyout. But that just means that they didn't want to deal with catering, so they provided the band with a few $100, split between everybody to go deal with meals and stuff like that during the day. So I got to remember to get my buyout. It's just cash money that they'll hand you usually in the tour manager will hand you in the production office. I'm in Dallas at a place called the Bomb Factory with Five for Fighting Route with Vertical Horizon right now. We've done about 4 or 5 shows, about another, I think 4 shows. I think we've got another 5 to go, something like that, out here on this little summertime run. So we were in Oklahoma City yesterday. Now we're in Dallas, and then we'll head up north, and we'll be hitting places close to Colorado, Denver, Colorado, like just a suburb of Denver. We're playing in Boise, Idaho. We're playing in Spokane, Washington, Salt Lake City. So a bunch of dates coming up. It's all on the Five for Fighting website. If you want to check it out, come see us. Yeah. It's funny, over the last 5 years or so, I've done quite a few of these on tour with Five for Fighting. I remember doing them during the Bare Naked Ladies tour, and whatnot. Hope you guys can hear me okay. I think that the stream seems like it's pretty strong. I got a little alert that it was like a low, power Wi-Fi or whatever, but now it seems like it's right in the middle. So anyways, I just hope it's working good. Maybe just confirm with me that you can hear me okay. Let's see. Just recording on my phone, doing vocals live over my loop songs on the band creator pedal. Sounds good enough. And that's from Joe. Whatever works these days. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but the iPhone 16 has crazy microphones in it that you can actually like even record, like they say, a studio quality vocal. Now there's a version of a song that Michael Bublé, as a advertisement for the 16, put out as a single where he's singing into the phone, you know, and that's actually the vocal that's on the record that they went and mixed with and stuff like that. So kind of interesting. It's got 5 microphones kind of located all over the phone in different places that you can sort of split in a DAW and use in different ways. Like, so if I import, you know, audio out of here into something like Logic, I think I can split it out over sort of 5 tracks. Maybe it's 2 stereo and then 3. I can't remember exactly because I haven't actually done it. But I have used the sort of the video function on the phone to record a video, and then right inside the video app on the iPhone, you can actually like eliminate all the ambience and stuff and make it a much drier sound and focused right on the, you know, it's crazy what they're doing these days. I heard the other day that there's now, like Randy, our drummer, was telling me there's now software, you know, there's like Moises and stuff that splits guitar parts and bass parts and kind of makes stems out of recordings. There's software now that'll split up background vocal parts, like where, like, so if it's a 3-part harmony, it'll isolate the different harmonies and you can hear them. And I think there's got to be some kind of AI, well, it's definitely AI doing it, but it's like going on where it guesstimates the different, like it's got to be filling in the gaps a little bit or something when it's doing it. But it's just fascinating to me that it's gotten that far. You can isolate the kick drum out of like a drum part, you know. I'm talking in a full mix. It's crazy. Yeah. What else we got here? What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Hey guys, was at the JP project last night in Toronto. Very cool. Oh, the Joe Perry project. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. My old buddy Jason Sutter is playing drums with them. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to determine how that came about because I think it was supposed to be the STP drummer that was playing drums with them. But Jason's out doing it, and I'm so happy for him. What a great sounding band! First of all, you know, Robert DeLeo on bass, and then Chris on vocals, and then you know, really filling it out with obviously, Chris from Black Crowes. Sorry, I'm a little tired today. I didn't sleep that great last night on the bus. Chris Robinson, Black Crowes, right, on vocals. Robert DeLeo on the bass. Jason Sutter on the drums, and then of course Joe Perry and Brad Whitford from Aerosmith on guitars. Just a cool band. I've watched a few videos, and they sound great. I mean, having Chris on vocals is a stroke of genius, I think, because he's such a great rock and roll singer. So, and it's like, yeah, he could sing. They're doing songs by STP. They're doing songs by Aerosmith. They're doing songs, you know, like there's a little bit of everything there. So it's really cool. Black Crowes, of course, some songs. Awesome that you went though to the show. I would have loved to catch one, or would like to catch one if possible, but I don't know if it's so damn busy running all over the place. Do certain guitars just pair better with some amps than others? My Telly sounds great through the Bella. Having trouble getting my Les Paul to sound as good through the same amp. It's a full mid-range amp. Like it's not a Fender scooped amp, I wouldn't say. The Bella's got a great full clean sound, but a Les Paul might benefit from something that's like hyper Fender, you know. I don't know. I'm just kind of riffing, but like off the top of my head. But do you know what I mean? Like something that's really scooped and without a lot of mids, just because a Les Paul has more mids. So maybe you're finding it's got more mids. Oh, that's Britt. I'm just gonna say hi. Hello. I'm just on my live stream.
Oh, okay.
You want to say hi to everybody?
No, I'm not.
No, you're at rehearsal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go, but I'll hit you up after. I'm gonna go for about an hour.
Okay.
Okay, love you. Have a good rehearsal.
Thanks. Okay.
Britt's in rehearsals right now for a she's playing drums with Ashley Simpson, who's doing a residency in Las Vegas. So she's out doing that. She's got a million things going on, a ton of gigs and stuff. So anyway, they've got about 8 days of rehearsal, and she's out doing that gig. So lots happening for her in the fall. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Bella. Is that it's got you know, it's kind of a take on a Dumble-ish sort of clean. And if you can imagine that, you know, with something like a Les Paul, I mean, and it's going to be very sort of, I sort of think of it as almost a neutral, but with sparkle clean sound, not a scooped hyper Fendery. It's an American style clean, but it's got its own forward, full, you know, like hit it with a drive with your Les Paul, maybe something like even like a Zen drive or a Klon or something like that, and it's going to have great big single notes that have no shortage of, you know, fat that'll cut through the band, and yet still be relatively clean, you know. So that's kind of the voice of the Bella to me. You know, so but interesting. You're like, yeah, I could hear how your telly would probably be just perfect through it, you know, because of the balance of the, you know, a guitar with less full mids through an amplifier that's very, I would say, has nice mids, you know. I don't really like Les Pauls for clean stuff anyway, you know. I mean, I played on the road with I mean, I like they're okay for, you know, I'm talking like Jimmy Page clean, sure, clean, you know what I mean? Like roll down the bridge and the neck pickup and put the switch in the middle. That kind of clean sounds awesome, you know, with the more martially sort of thing, a little less, you know, it's a little, they've got mids too, but lack of, it looks like I'm back there. I should maybe down the bandwidth, or let's try moving around this place a little bit, and I'll see if I can get a little, because it looked like it dropped out for a sec there. Maybe it's a good opportunity. I can show you the venue anyway if you want to check it out, because maybe the Wi-Fi is a little stronger. I just saw the video drop out in a sec, so they're pretty far away from making any kind of noise, so I don't think we'll get interrupted by that. Anyway, let's walk up here and take a look at this place. Hello.
What's happening?
How you doing?
Good.
So this is a venue called the Bomb Factory in Dallas. Their stage. There's their nice screen. Guess we can have some video today. I want to say that I've been here because it looks really familiar, but I don't think so. I don't think I have. Nice looking venue though. In true Texas fashion. Nice big, you know, everything's bigger in Texas, including my coffee. 100%. Wi-Fi seems good and strong right here, so maybe I'll just hang around this area. There's a couch back here. Maybe I can go sit back here in the kind of the dining area. And things will just work. Let's see. Seems pretty good so far. There's some old video games over there. They got Galaga. Can hit that later, maybe. Okay. Well, anyway, you get my my thinking on the Bella and the basic tone, I think. Let's see. And if you're having issues and you wish it just had a better clean, maybe it's the pickups. You know, if you want it to be more telly, like what are the pickups in the guitar? Are they more a 498T or whatever the heck they're called, like a hotter, you know, or are they, you know, if you go, I remember the first set of pickups. I mean, Thorn buckers were great, but I don't just want to promote my own. The first set of pickups that I ever got that worked, like where I was like, oh, with a Les Paul, it sounds pretty good clean, was Antiquities. You know, a set of Antiquities, Alnico 2 magnets, low wind, sounded really sweet. Actually, that's going all the way back to when I was in Fight for Fighting around 2001 and toured with a mid-90s Les Paul Standard that I put some antiquities in. That's the only changes I really made to it, and it just brought the guitar to life in a kind of a, a lower output, less aggressive mid-range sort of way that really worked well. So have you ever owned or tried a Chapman guitar? Rob Chapman. I have not, actually. I don't know that much about them, to be honest. I've never played one. So I saw Rob Chapman in Malta a couple of years ago. I was there to do a one-off gig, and he lives there, like an interesting place to live. He's like kind of totally off the beaten path in Malta. For those that don't know where Malta is, it's like basically island below Italy. That's right smack dab between Italy and Africa. So that's where he lives. So, but it was a nice place. I had fun there, and we had a breakfast. Me and Rob and I should say, proper English. Let's see, who else we got here? Been a while. Too many outdoor summer activities, not enough guitar fun, but it's good to get outside and stuff and have a well-rounded life. Can you suggest a good set of speakers for my PT15 to achieve good Joe Walsh Eagles tone? Well, I would say you want to pick a nice lower gain drive for the clean channel, first of all, which, by the way, is sort of Bella based, essentially. It's kind of like the Bella clean channel. And, maybe something along the lines of, I don't know, a King of Tone, or, it could be a, King of Tone, Prince of Tone, OCD, something like that. I think Felder uses OCDs for Eagles kind of sounds through deluxe reverbs. I think that's what he backlines deluxes. And, so, in the low peak, that kind of warmer mid-gain drive thing that they do. And then as far as speakers, that's not speakers. As far as speakers go, I like the Celestion A-type for kind of a warm, like a slightly more vintage rolled off top end, like they almost sound like broken in. It's an underrated speaker, I think. I mean, not a lot of people talk about it. Hopefully they're still making it, but yeah, Celestion A-type, something like that. Or like a super well-rounded, like maybe even a V-type, which I like too, which are kind of like somewhere, to me, they were somewhere in between a V30 and a greenback. But if you want a little more rolled off, like an A-type, I did a video of it. You can hear it on YouTube. It reminded me, and I think I say this in the video, it's at least 10 years old now, but I think I said that it reminded me of a well-worn in greenback. And then if you want a light speaker, like to make a really light cabinet, you could try the creamback. What the heck's the greenback? Greenback style creamback. They make one. These guys are moving a. Check this out. Not sure what this is for. It's always interesting with doing Sunday lives from venues. Anyway, the creamback. I'm gonna have to look it up. Give me just a sec, guys. I'm gonna look up the speaker. Celestion Creamback Neo. That's what it's called. Of course. Creamback Neo. The Neo speaker. So it kind of reminded me of I'm gonna try to find a quieter place. Maybe in here. Not great on the Wi-Fi in here either. Sorry. For those that know me, this is kind of interesting. Check this out. There's a whole nother venue in here. This place. About a probably 600 cap sort of big club in here. Pretty impressive. Anyway, Creamback Neo. I'm all over the place here. Creamback Neo, nice, similar to the A-Type to me, but it's a light speaker. I'd probably listen to them both back to back and go, oh, they sound pretty different actually. But that was my impression, was that they both sound like rolled off greenbacks or like broken in, more like a vintage speaker. So, okay, now this thing's coming my way. There we go. It's okay, man. You're just doing your job. Let's go over to the other side here and see what's going on. But yeah, so many speakers to try. Speaking of speakers, I've got a couple on the way that are not something that I've ever tried before. Does anybody remember the sugar cone speakers? Or is that too esoteric for you? Sugar cone. They speaker that came out, I don't know, probably 20 years ago or something like that. And I think they were trying to do kind of a, maybe it was a Fane sort of, British speaker sort of vibe. Anyway, they're remaking them. Family member of one of the, what's that? Sorry, I'm just on a live stream. Oh, you want to give me my all right, okay. So he wants to give me money, so we're going to go get some money. I'll interrupt my live stream for money. Sure, I will. Let's go in the production office where Seth has, hi Seth, what you got for me there?
Well, this is called buyout.
Yeah.
So Pete likes money.
Yeah.
Pete likes to eat. So this is for Pete.
$45 buyout today.
50 actually. Say.
Oh, $50? Oh, don't. Oh, see? Chris, new bill.
He'll split it all in one place.
All right, thanks, Seth. That's a good buyout. $50. Solid buyout. It's usually less. They must like this here in Texas. Anyway, sugar cone. Okay, where was I? Family member of the guy that originally started the company is now carrying on the tradition, making the speakers again. And there's two different variants. There's one that is a typical ribbed cone sort of variety. And like a, picture of greenback or something like that. Grab this chair here and sit down here. So that's coming my way. But then they're making another one that's got a smooth cone, not ribbed. And should sound markedly different. And evidently that's the one that he's saying that a lot of people that are getting them are trying that one and digging that one. So it's kind of like not a typical traditional speaker design. Picture the cone of the speaker smooth and supposed to be pretty cool. So I don't know. I'm trying both. And trying speakers is always, it's a bit of an ordeal because you always got to get into a cabinet, open it up, unscrew the other speakers, put the two new ones in, mic it up. There's 45 minutes of prep time. It's not like plugging in an overdrive pedal. So it takes a minute and I got to be in the right mood to get geared up to, all right, here we go. And I've kind of got a, somewhere, because I used to do a lot more of that, testing speakers. I've got a output jack that would go in the back of a cabinet along with like alligator clips that'll go on, so I can sort of temporarily put speakers in a cabinet and hook them up and not have to do any soldering or anything like that. So that'll come in handy. But anyways, I always like to try different things, and your hope is always, you plug in something and the clouds part and the sky is, what I mean? It's like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. That's kind of the vibe. So who knows? Let's try them. And that's what I'll hear, because it would be really cool. Speakers are maddening to me a little bit. And you really hear it with impulse responses, I think, where you try different ones, say in a modeler or maybe in a, reactive load or something. You try these different IRs and you're like, you guys, I'm sure you maybe have this same, because I know other people I've talked to do, but where you try them and you're like, that sounds weird. And then within about 10 seconds, you're like, oh, that actually sounds pretty cool. And then you switch to another one. You're like, no, that sounds weird. Oh, that sounds pretty cool too. And your ear starts to get used to it. And it's kind of rare that you try one and then you go like, oh my God, that's perfect. Like, that sounds amazing, and it's all there. Like, it always is this weird adjustment period. So I've maybe kind of given up hope that I'm ever going to hear a speaker that just like right out of the gate, like blows me away and is like, wow, that's amazing. They all seem to have this crazy, because they're the furthest thing from flat, right? They're so, colored. With that said, this speaker with the non-ribbed cone is supposed to kind of be a flatter sort of speaker. I guess one of the sort of the characteristics of a ribbed cone speaker is that they create distortion and strange anomalies that maybe sometimes we like in the context of a dirty guitar tone. So Todd says Bare Naked Ladies tour again, same as last year. No, we're out with Vertical Horizon actually this year. So this year we're headlining, and Vertical Horizon is opening. Vertical Horizon was one of my first tours back in 99 or 98, something like that. I was with a band called Blinker the Star, opening for Vertical Horizon for a month. Maybe it was 2000. I'd toured before that with Adam Cohen, 98 or 99. And then I'd been in bands all the way back to 90 doing stuff. But my first kind of real road dog, get in the van or the bus or whatever we ended up in at the time it was really late 90s. So yeah. Okay, moving down to the chat. Glad you're coming to Scunthorpe with the Classic Rock Show. Can't wait. Awesome, me too. Can't wait. Play some tunes for you guys. Some Led Zeppelin and some AC/DC, etc., etc. Have some fun. Rexel says, I wonder if you can sign my guitar. Anyway, we can meet. I'm 40 minutes away. Oh, well, if you swing by, I mean, I'd be happy to. Send me an email. You got my email, right? Just the Pete Thorn at Ymail. And I'm sure if you wanted to swing by, I could say hi. I'm going to be kind of in and out today, just a little bit, going to get food and stuff like that. But I'll basically be around. And if you know where this place is, you probably know kind of just go ask somebody like local staff or whatever. Where's Pete? And I would come find you. So anyway, hit me up. I'd be happy to sign your guitar, man. I don't have I wish I had like a silver pen or something. I probably got a black one here, black Sharpies. Maybe we might have. Maybe Seth has some production office, like the good silver paint pens or whatever. Because John does sometimes is signing posters and stuff at venues. So, yeah. What else we got here? But anyway, I'd be happy to do that. Of course, I would. Yeah. There's Arthur. Look forward to when you head out this way. If there's time, I'm going to show you a killer guitar I picked up. What is it? Tell us. Okay, just looking through the comments here. Clear out with Vertical Rise. It'd be amazing if you had John Wesley on your channel sometime. Loves his work with Porcupine Team. He's a really nice guy. I've been hanging with him after shows and stuff. And he's a good cat. I know. I like especially that Fear of a Blank Planet album, that Porcupine Tree album. That's a great record. Okay, I'm pretty far back in the chat, so I'm going to move down a little bit. Can AI put backing tracks and vocals to my original guitar parts? That's a really good question. Could you upload a guitar part and say, build me a song with drums and bass and everything around this? That's probably coming if it doesn't already exist. Maybe it already does. Just not sure. Maybe an EQ for the Les Paul through the Bella. Should have mentioned that myself. I mean, that's actually a great suggestion. Just a good old Boss G7 or something might, tame some of the extra stuff that you're probably hearing with the LP. Most kind of session pro people that I know, I mean, guys like Tim Pierce and Rusty Anderson, and they all seem to have they generally have a G7 on their board, a lot of the time, for that very reason, to just kind of like be the final kind of fine tune, yeah. Colin says, what you think of the Yamaha Pacifica? The ones I've tried have been pretty good guitars. It's funny, a lot of people say my guitar looks like the Pacifica. In some ways it does, but it doesn't. You know, I know we've got a different pickguard on there, but that's about the only thing. Like, because my pickguard extends all the way down into the lower bout, and the knobs are on it. On a Pacifica, it doesn't. You know, it's like. But anyway. And some people will say, "Oh, you made a Yamaha Pacifica." I'm like, it looks pretty different, man. What my guitar, if anything, was sort of actually influenced by the jazz bass. If you look at the pick guard of the way it sweeps down, I thought, let's do something like that. And I even wanted to do the kind of the chrome plate where the volume and tone knobs would be. John was like, "We're not doing that. It's going to cost a lot to machine that and extra." And I thought, yeah, then maybe it'll look too much like a jazz bass anyway. But if you look at a jazz bass, that's the influence, really. If anything, I was like, why don't we do that, but have the flow of the pickguard go through the humbucker? Anyway, the ones I've tried was the last Pacifica I tried was up in Canada when I went up to do my course for Guitario a few years ago. I shot a video where they were like, I can't even remember what the concept was of the video, and I'm not even sure they put it out, but it might be out there on YouTube. It was kind of an addition to my course, just an extra sort of teaser video, and it was like, what happens if we give Pete a $300 guitar sort of thing? What will he think of it? And it was this Pacifica, and it was a pretty good guitar, you know, pretty good. It's amazing, you know, these days what you can get. There's pretty solid stuff out there these days, out there in guitar land that for you know, aspiring young guitar players, or even for people that want a second guitar, folks that just don't want to spend a lot of money on guitar, you know, get great stuff. And the Pacifica is a pretty good example. I know, I think Sir has mentioned that to me before too, like Yamaha, pretty quality, like as far as the quality of the fretwork, and when we're talking about lower priced, you know, instruments, or, you know, guitars from big manufacturers, he's got some respect for them. Yeah. Braxall says Bomb Factory is a pretty good sized place. Yeah, in here I would say this is about seated. Well, there's a deck back there too, isn't there? There's like a balcony. It's probably, I don't know. It's hard. I gotta guess, but I'd say 1,500 or 1,800 or something in here, and then I'd say the room next door is probably a 600 cap or something like that. Depends on fire regulations and all that, I guess. Sometimes you use AI to separate tracks as trebles, and then drag drums into Superior and create MIDI tracks from it. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what you can do these days. The quality of, you know, Moises and pretty amazing. The one in Logic's pretty good too. I think Moises might even be better. Randy Cook was saying, our drummer was saying, that Moises is now kind of the leader. For a minute it wasn't, and now it is again. They've upped their game. Randy's got one that's like a stem splitter program of some sort that's on his Mac. And he says when he uses it and does really sophisticated splitting, it's like he's got an M4 Mac, and he says it'll just heat up like crazy because it's just using power like, you know, like crazy to do those sophisticated splits. I haven't tried the latest version of Moises, but Moises does it in the cloud or whatever. You send them a track, and then they'll send you back the stems, you know. So they're using remote sort of power to do their splitting and stuff. That's how they do it. And is there an app for Moises for the computer? I'm not sure, or if it's just phone. I've got it on my phone, but it's been a minute since I've used it. So, Sachin Vai, I think pretty highly of your guitar work. I heard them in an interview. Must feel good to hear that from those boys. It's the greatest thing ever for me. You know, I mean, just the nicest guys. I miss them a lot right now. It's hard, man, the end of a tour where you just say goodbye and you see them walk off. And I watch Joe and Steve in Germany and their wives, you know. I said, well, goodbye. We give each other big hugs and stuff. And then they walked towards, we were in the airport hotel, and they walked, it was an airport hotel right in the kind of Terminal 2 of the Munich airport. And they walked away towards their gate, you know, and there they went. I've just been with them every day for like 2 months, you know. And then I haven't seen them, you know, and I came home for a couple weeks and then jumped back out on this run. And now I'm with some other friends out here and another group of people, and you get into the different flow. And I've spent a lot of time on the road this year and slept on a bus a lot this year, and it's interesting, and the dynamics and the sort of mental health aspect of it is a real thing. Getting your head in the game and stuff like that. Not enough people talk about it, but that's a whole nother discussion. But anyways, Joe and Steve, I've been spending a couple months with them every day. I miss them right now was the point, because I really enjoyed their company, and getting to chat with them every day and see them every day, which just kind of became like always special, but somewhat normal, because you're seeing them every day, and just fun. And maybe I'll give them a call today or something later, and check in and stuff, and just have a little, just to say hi if I get some time later today. Because it's an odd thing to just not see people anymore after a tour and leave, and all of a sudden that's your little family for a while, right? So okay. Just wanted to congratulate you on the Satisfy tour. Thanks. Looking like you had a blast. It really was. Yeah. It's strange. That's also strange that it's like, well, that happened, and, hopefully there will be more, So, but it's strange that it's like, well, there was that chapter that you were sort of looking forward to, and then now that's finished, that at least that part of it. So, Have you tried Richie Kotzen pickups? No, I didn't even know he had a pickup. Is it through a vendor, or is he doing a signature pickup with someone else? I didn't know that. Yeah. Todd says antiquities are up my alley. Yeah, antiquities are great. That's what I'm running in Les Paul, the antiquities. Yeah, generally they're really a good option, I think, for that kind of, old school Les Paul tone. So Mark says, don't forget to smash that like button. I agree, please do. Was going to get the antiquities from Les Paul, but I put some Pro Buckers in the meantime. Love them too. Hey, if you're happy, why change? Antiquities win in my 90s Les Paul, which admittedly I don't really play anymore. I've got this guitar and I just keep it for sentimental reasons. I should, it's something I could probably sell at this point. I just haven't used it in years, but it's a good Les Paul. It's wine red, kind of like Dean DeLeo's original one. It's a 95. I bought it in my hometown. That's another thing. I bought it at a music store that I'd been shopping at since I was a teenager, so it's got a little sentimental value, I think, and I don't really want to get rid of it for that reason. So it stays around, but it's a good guitar, really good guitar, solid Les Paul. Yeah, I really do like them. They're just a little extra in the Bella. Yeah, maybe try an EQ, Mark. EQ pedal was a good suggestion, and see if you can just dial it in for when you're going for a certain sound. It's amazing what you can do with an EQ. You can kind of do anything. Once you try one, you're like, well, now I can go anywhere with this. I can boost gain beyond belief, like clean boost. On something like a G7, or I can cut the low mids, or I can make it brighter. I can warm it up. I can do whatever I want. So yeah. But that guitar rocks in my other amps. Yeah, it could be that you're just that thick. Does it sound thick? It's like kind of the Bella has a full, like I remember playing Eagles tune one of these nights, and it sounds great in the PA, but it is full and loud. It's like, the middle position on the guitar, big full sound, and then I would run like a bit of overdrive. I think I was using the unobtainium kind of dumbly side for the rhythm sound, and then I would hit my Starlight fuzz for the solo of one of these nights, the Felder. And that sounded really good because it's kind of like, it's supposedly not a fuzz on the record, although it sure sounds like one, but I think he swears it's just a deluxe on 10 or something. Could be. It's got a real square wavy fuzzy quality to that sound. So I'd used the Starlight stacked, I think, with the unobtainium into the Bella with the Aura, which is basically like a Les Paul, right? The guitar. It's funny what other guitar players use to get certain sounds that you would do something different on. Yeah. I mean, when I think back to the Randy Rhoads video that I did with that sort of third Randy Rhoads Jackson, and I couldn't really get a sound like Randy's with a Distortion Plus and a Marshall. So I used an SD1 into the front end of my SL68, and I felt like I got a really good kind of Randy Rhoads-esque sound. Then a couple months later, after I put the video out, Guitar Player put out this article on Randy's tone with sound sort of settings of all the pedals and amps. And so I went and tried to kind of duplicate that using an EQ, because I didn't realize like what a big portion of the sound was. Once again, we're coming back to an EQ pedal and how you can shape. Like just turn on a Distortion Plus into a Marshall, it sound very good to me. And then with his supposed EQ settings that maybe they got off of old photographs or something like that they were able to figure out, it sounded really. It's like, oh, there it is. That kind of sounds a lot like Randy now all of a sudden. And it was, I think he used an MXR EQ. So I think I grabbed my MXR 10 band or something, which might even not be, but I tried to kind of approximate what I was seeing in the Guitar World article, and I felt like I got very close. Yeah. I see a super chat there, so I think I'm going to shoot down here to the bottom because I'm pretty far behind in the chat anyway, and just grab that, and then I'll work my way back a little bit. UK loves you, Pete. Hey, thanks, Pete Martin. Appreciate that. You're an adopted Brit. That feels good. Thank you. I actually kind of need to hear that right now. So it's a nice comment, and thank you for the super chat. Would I ever consider moving there? I wouldn't rule it out. I'll put it to you that way. I quite like, and some people think I'm crazy, except for the folks that live there that maybe know, but I quite like Liverpool. As a city, I think it's a nice city. It's a nice sized city. It's where James lives from Classic Rock Show. And I know the weather is kind of crap, although in the summer it was beautiful. I was there earlier in the summer, right before beginning of June, right before I started the Satchify tour for a few days. This is very nice. It's a nice city. It's a nice smaller city, and just has a good vibe to it. And I get along well with people pretty much there, I find, because probably that's my heritage. I mean, I'm basically a Burmese genetically, so from kind of West Midlands. My grandfather was from there, and my other grandfather was not. He was born in Canada, but I think his father was from there, and so I've got some fairly deep roots going back in the UK. So it always feels like home. First time I ever visited there, it felt like home in a weird way. It was like this place is so different. For a kid coming from Canada at 13 or 14, I'd never been overseas, and I went there on a trip, and I was like, wow, like people say things differently, and signs are like there's different phrases and things, but yet it feels very comfortable. And so I don't know. So anyway, thanks. I appreciate your super chat and that comment. So it makes me feel good. Yeah. Yep. Growing up in English Canada and all that, I guess that's part of it. Neil was using Tweed Deluxe, but he's used mini amps in the vein. That's a bit something between Richard and Michael. I guess Neil was in. I think Neil Young. I know you're talking about Neil Young. That's the Neil with the Deluxe. Can only be that Neil. It's not Neil Peart. Or Neil Finn. Yeah, I think Neil was in Toronto last night, as well as the Joe Perry project. That's interesting. My buddy Corey is playing with Neil Young. So Jason Sutter's with Joe Perry, Corey's with Neil Young. Everybody's off doing stuff. Good. Stay working. Arthur says, I like Liverpool a lot too. It has such a good vibe. It really does. There's really good food, restaurants. It's not so big. It's like it's a nice small city, but with kind of everything you need. Seemingly, I'm sure if I moved there or something, I'd be like, oh, there's something I need that I can't get. But you can always mail away from that or for that. That's what everybody does now anyway. It's weird being in a downtown area in the United States now. If you're in a downtown area in pretty much any town in England, you're going to find kind of what you need because there's a high street culture there where it's like there's always a strip of restaurants and shops and stuff, like, you need to go find some socks, or you need to do this or that or whatever. There's always a Marks and Spencer everywhere, which is like a big department store with also a grocery store in it. There's always this stuff, everywhere. But in the United States, man, I was in Kansas City the other day and I was trying to find very simple things, and I could only find one CVS sort of pharmacy in the middle of town. That was helpful. I did go there and get some stuff, but try and find like some socks and underwear and stuff, like things like I could use a few more pair of these while I'm on the road. Couldn't find a department store, couldn't find anything anywhere resembling anything like that in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. You got to go out to the burbs where all the malls are, right? And the downtowns are always kind of, in America, is a little hollowed out. Although there's some places where it's a little more. Where were we the other day where it was like a little sort of revitalized? Maybe it was Columbus, where it seemed like there was some stuff happening in the downtown area, a little more new housing and stuff going on, like restaurants and stuff. Anyway, that is just an observation. That's probably very anecdotal, I guess. With a good EQ pedal and good overdrive, you can get so many different flavors of overdrive. That was kind of always the approach of David Gilmour. I saw a picture the other day, making me think of it, of his 90s tour rig for some tour. Maybe it was Pulse or something. Or was that the late 80s? Can't remember. But anyway, Gilmour's rig, where he had always like tube drivers and big muffs in that era, always with an EQ pedal paired, so that whenever that pedal was on, it always had a corresponding EQ to kind of shape the sound. I think his sound was very centric on like the pedals. Like, I think his amp sounds, if you see his high watt settings, pretty sort of neutral, clean pedal platform. He was the original pedal platform guy, Gilmour, like big time, the way he'd use the high watts, I tried when I had a high watt DR in the studio, and I went, what are Gilmour's settings? I went and found some online, and I tried it, and it's like pretty much just a straight up clean, not very loud sound, actually. So I think that kind of all about the pedals. But Satchvi was really loud. Are you worried about your hearing? My ears at the beginning of the tour were actually bothering me, and I think it was allergies. Just allergies, because that can happen, where allergies can sort of, kick off your things like tinnitus and things like that. But I sort of was fine after a little while. It went away, really, and I wear in-ears. So as soon as you put in-ears in, you've got 30 dB of reduction. And yeah, I know the stage was relatively loud, and Kenny's a pretty loud drummer and stuff too. So had I been on wedges, it would be a bit more wear and tear for sure. But I've taken to using ears more in recent times. I'm not using them on this tour. I'm just wedges on this, always have been. But we're not very loud in this band. It's a pretty reasonable stage volume. It's probably still 100 dB up there, I bet, if I used a meter. But it's not super loud on stage with Fight for Fighting, and there's a lot of ballads and a lot of breaks. The moments when this band is at its loudest are few and far between. Only a few songs and in total, and then a few moments in the other songs where we come up for a bridge or something, get louder, and then it always mellows out. There's a lot of that kind of material in this band. So in this band, not a problem, and in Satchvi, I'm on in-ears the whole time. So I kept them pretty low, actually. I sort of started getting used to backing them down. At the beginning of the tour, I ran them a little louder. And then I realized, I'm getting pretty hammered in the ears by drums and my guitar and stuff like that. So I found a setting on the pack where it was like, okay, I'm not going to go beyond this. And I would use that setting every night. We had scenes. So that means on every song, you can have a different mix. And actually, I never quite got the scene together with our monitor guy of the first song. So the first song was I Want to Play My Guitar, the single, Satchvi Band single. And it always was kind of quiet and a little distant sounding in my ears, but I just kind of got used to that. And then from there, the next song was Sea of Emotion Part 1. And the mix would get louder, like substantially, like at least 2-3 dB louder and more defined on that song. We just didn't have it's a long story, but we didn't do it's not a tour where we did sound check, so it was like I just kind of got the songs dialed in as best I could. And the one that was kind of I could have done better on was or had a better mix on was the first song. And I kind of got used to that, of just having it be lower and less clear, because I thought it's going to just get better now throughout the set. And I would know that with each, not louder with every song, but some of the, I'd really look forward to certain songs because it'd be like, I know my mix is really dialed on this one, certain ones. Surfing with the Alien or Steve's tune, Little Pretty, actually, the mix got to the point where I had him quite loud, like Steve, not excessively loud, but as loud as me in my mix, and that was really magical for me because I love that tune. Oh, pink noise time. Probably means I need to go to a quieter place for you guys. That's how they dial the PA every day, so that means it's going to be kind of noisy. Might have to just deal with the dressing room, or maybe I'll go outside here for a minute. See if the Wi-Fi will carry out here. Let's see. So far, so good. Let's go outside. Why not? So anyway, with Little Pretty, I had this mix that was kind of dialed that sounded really good to me, with Steve's guitar right about at the same level that my guitar was at, and I loved that. It was great. It was really nice. Kind of probably one of my favorite sounding songs, for the show. Anyway, but no, I didn't suffer any kind of hearing. I got no residual, because that, for me, classic rock show, I generally use wedges, and for a lot of the set, that beats my ears up far more, I think. All right, move down through the chat a little bit. Let's see what we got here. You had a chance to try the new MXR bass synth? No, but we had a question about that a couple weeks ago, and I remember mentioning that I thought that the video that the guy that helped design it did was exceptional. He's a bass player, but it sounded so good, and he did a great job on the video, so it's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. What else we got? Let's see. I'm gonna go about another 15, I think, guys, and then I'm gonna go find some lunch and stuff. Where are the That Pedal Show guys located? I think they're close to Yeovil. That's my memory, but I might be wrong. There might be somebody else that chimes in that's a Brit that can be more accurate about that. But that's my memory, is that I did the show once, and I think we were playing Yeovil that night, which is a small town, kind of. Windy and annoying up here, but I don't hear the ping noise anymore. Maybe they're not doing it quite yet. Get away with a few more minutes of no sound. So cute.
You see the article that came out? If he blasted them?
Yeah, he quit like after the
Yeah, the drum tech quit? Yeah.
Sounds like some gossip going on. Let's go up here for a minute and see what's going on. Let's take you all around this venue. It's going to be great. Trust me. I just found gold, guys. The laundry. Fantastic. Can I do a little laundry up here later? Is that okay? Fantastic. I'm going to come up here. I'm glad I walked up here. No. Thank you. That's what I'm doing next. Yeah. A little bit of laundry done. Oh, there's a perfectly good dressing room right here. This place is amazing. This is good stuff. Yeah, get a little laundry done, go get a little lunch and stuff like that in a few minutes. Okay. I need your TPS report. We had a joke the other day about Randy, the drummer, started a song that I wasn't ready for. So I was kind of pissed at him. Just a little bit. But I was like, Randy, why'd you start that song so damn fast? Like, I wasn't ready or whatever. And then I was talking to John about it. Like, I wasn't ready when Randy started. He was like, neither was I. We were both like, why'd Randy? And then Randy came walking. He goes, thanks for throwing me under the bus, Pete. But we've known each other for years. We're all good about it. So then that became the joke for the next 48 hours on the tour was, hey, Randy, did you get the memo about not starting that song so quick? Yeah, we're going to kind of need you to just hold on for a second before you, the old TPS reports. Office Space, my favorite movie ever. I need to rewatch it. It's a good one. We need a new album from you. Thanks, Richard. I mean, I got to do one. It's just finding the time, and I've been feeling guilty about not having a new record for quite a while now. So definitely going to get that in. Why would you move to the UK with all the... No, that's terrible. So I don't like that, Andy. I don't subscribe to that. So I'm a migrant. So sorry, Andy, but can't agree with you there, my friend. I'm an immigrant, so I have a soft spot in my heart for immigrants. I consider myself a citizen of the world. So, bonsoir de France. I am truly amazed that you are so kind to your fans and approachable. That's in the same breath. I mean, look, the world's a crazy place right now. I don't mean to come down on you, Andy, too, but I got to disagree with you there, because here's the thing. I feel like I'm a citizen of Earth, at this point. I've traveled all over. I mean, God, have I ever traveled this year? I've been in Europe for half the year, and now I'm back in the States, and I'm just, it's not letting up. Like, I'm continuing to travel. So I came from Canada, live in America, have spent over a year of my life in different other countries, like such as Japan and England, and for doing various things, work, travel, and the whole nine yards. And there's this fine line of these countries with these very special cultures, and I get that they want to hold on to that because it really, like, Japan's a great example, France is a great example. And yet we're all citizens on this rock with these imaginary lines that are all dividing up these places, right? And everybody's human beings. And the things that John says it every night in this show, the things that bind us together as humans, the human experience, are greater than our differences. That could be cultural differences, political differences, anything like that. Everybody basically wants the same thing, though, right? Which is to lead a good life, provide for their family, have a good job, feel a sense of security of some sort, have some fun, a little bit of, right? I mean, it's so common. And so it's like, that's the thing that I find, just as a person that travels a lot and stuff like that. I don't, it's the gift of getting to just go to different places, and you see the same stuff everywhere. That same bindings, the big ones are what I'm talking about. The big ones are the human condition and stuff. And this is why you say you're kind to your fans and approachable. I'm glad that anybody gives a crap about what I do. I just play a piece of wood with 6 pieces of metal stretched across it, and try and connect with people, and maybe try and I always say that our job in a band, and especially as a touring musician, I think, it's a recording musician too, but as a touring musician anyway, your job is really to allow people the freedom and the space to have a good time. That's what they pay for a ticket for, is to come and get transported to a place where they're enjoying themselves and hearing some music and getting taken out of their trials and tribulations and their day and stuff like that. And that is a universal experience too, because you're going to see people at shows of all ages and races and from different countries and stuff like that. They're all smiling, looking at you, rocking out or whatever, having a good time, or singing the songs to you. And it's this tribal, fun, cultural thing that, like, where we can all experience it together and not worry about any other garbage in the world. But anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. And so the fact that anybody, it's just part, talking to fans and being approachable and stuff like that, is just a part of that experience of, like, you make people happy and you make people, you know what I mean? What a great job. Like, it's like, to be able to do that for a living, and, you know what I mean? Hey, good. Yeah, it's just such a terrific, it's an honor, really. So, hi from Italy, at least until tomorrow for fun. VH Fave guitar sound track. I just registered a House of Pain, and that one might be my favorite. I mean, the song or the tone on House of Pain, or yeah, House of Pain is a really cool. I didn't love 1984 because of the sound of that era. Once again, and this is a big part of, I think, when people gave Eddie a lot of grief later, and we need to hear new music from you, and why people wanted them to tour and to get back together with Dave and everything. It was kind of not a backhanded compliment, but all they're really saying is like, we just want to feel like we did in 1984 when you were, you guys were on top of the world and making us all feel like it was like this summertime magic, And that album, the sound and the songwriting and everything is certainly the tone and everything on 84. It's just fun. And so I get why you would say that about House of Pain. There's some terrific sounding stuff on 84. And that I love the Girl Gone Bad and House of Pain are two of my favorite Van Halen tracks for sure. In no small part because that was right when I was really getting into guitar. I mean, that album came out the end of 83 or whatever. So I'd started playing guitar in maybe 81 or 82. By 83 or 84, a couple of years in, was really obsessed and getting into Van Halen. And it became a big part of my development. Close the door over there. Get a little bit quieter. So kicking the PA on down there. So what else? He grew up Canadian. That's in his DNA to be nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. My parents are 100% responsible for all that stuff anyway that I turned out. So, yeah. My wife and I are leaving now. Yeah, dude. I mean, 40 minutes. Okay, I'll tell you what. I don't have my phone on me, but I'll look at the clock right now. So you'd be here at about, yeah, okay. 3:30. Might be getting right into sound check, but I'll do the best that I can to, you know what I mean? Come to the alley. You'll see buses, and then around the corners of the alley, and there'll be a loading door and stuff. I'll see if I can come find you out there and chat with you for a few minutes. I might not have a ton of time because I think we're getting on stage right around then, but I'll do the best that I can for you, my friend. And it'd be nice to meet you all these years of you being on here and showing up at pretty much every Sunday and stuff, and a loyal follower. I appreciate it. Walmart is our city center in the U.S. Yeah, it can be. You know what I mean? It's like, and they're always never right in the middle of town, are they? Yeah, the Brits, when they came over we did, Classic Rock Show tour in the U.S. It was a couple of years ago now, but kind of spring tour, and they were a little confused, about where do we eat? Like, where do we, if you're in downtown, could be any, wherever you are, in America, and it could be a little difficult compared to England, where it's like it's always a little easier, a little closer. So it's just a different layout, different culture, different the way the city's developed and stuff. So I already highlighted that one. You asked me my favorite, though. I can't really pick a favorite, but 84 as a whole is really terrific. I would say Mean Street. I love, because I love the intro. That chord to me is the greatest G or probably F sharp, because it's 2.5 step chord ever recorded. I used to listen to it over and over again. Just the way the Marshall growls on it blows my mind. That's the signature Eddie thing that he got out of the Marshall, that once he went to more gain and stuff, you don't get that as much, was that the sound of the amp giving this vowel-like sound to the chord. If you haven't listened to it for a while, go listen to it and you'll hear what I'm talking about, where you hear the compression of the amp kind of collapse and then open up, and it sounds like a voice, the way that if you use just a more preamp gain or an overdrive pedal in front or anything that'll compress that, it won't really do that as much. So kind of interesting. Yeah. What else we got here? Allergies. This is interesting. We're talking about allergies and how they affect your ears. Allergies can make the pitch in one of my ears lower than the other. It's disturbing as a musician. That's weird. Yeah, it can really affect your your hearing and your balance of the way frequencies and stuff. It's odd. Yeah, yeah. Uh, what else we got here? Let's see. Um, uh, yeah. Also, we said no audio for a minute. Is my audio out? I don't know. It seemed to be working. Are you still using the same rig last as you were with Fight for Fighting with the Quad Cortex? Yeah, it's basically exactly the same guitar you saw me use, the blue top PT with 2 humbuckers that I love for this gig. But I've got rental stuff out here, so I'm actually using 2 orange pedal babies for power amps going into a rented Marshall 1960 AV cabinet. The pedal babies work quite well. They're kind of bright, so they've got a bass, treble, and a volume. These are just the Class AB power amps that you can use with a modeler or maybe like a reamp rig to power a cabinet. It's just a straight up solid state guitar power amp. They sound a little bright to me, so I've got the treble dialed down so it's it's only up about a quarter of the way, and they've got a lot of power. So I've got the volume just barely cracked open on them. Stereo through this 1960 AV cabinet, and that's working well for this tour. But other than that, yeah, it's a single quad Cortex. It's not even on a pedal board. I'm using the tuner in the quad. No other pedals on this tour. And I've got a what's it called? No, it's actually Source Audio expression pedal for just doing volume, as well as a couple other things that I've got the expression pedal tied to. And that's it. And then I've got an acoustic gig from Carl Martin for my acoustic guitar. We've only done a couple songs on this tour where I've actually played acoustic, but the nights where John chooses to do those tunes, I've got a separate cable and DI line for my acoustic. And I've got a rented Taylor out here that I'm using, which sounds really good, actually. So, yeah. Loud parts being rare make them more impactful. Yeah, we were talking earlier about this band, Fight for Fighting, the dynamics and stuff. 100%. When you've got a dynamic band, it does make it band that knows how to turn up and down and play lighter and sparser, maybe not play at all and then play. It helps rather than just hammering away at the same volume all the time. Yeah. Yeah. Some of you guys are saying there's no audio, but I don't know. I can see it. It's not muted right now, so hopefully it's working. Yeah. Oh, windy outside. Well, I don't know. Maybe maybe that caused some issues or something when I went outside for a minute. Okay. Pete, do they use the pink noise to even out the frequencies? Yeah, that's generally it. When you can, I don't really understand it because I'm not a front of house guy, but you run the pink noise through the system, and it's basically every frequency from 20 to 20K, and they can see where there's more or less of any given. And so where you need to on like a master EQ, there's a lot at 220, or there's a lot at 900 hertz or whatever, and then they can kind of even out the EQ of the PA in kind of a rough fashion, and then tune it further by ear, I guess, is kind of the idea with the pink noise. It just sounds like a blast of noise of static, essentially. Yeah. Okay, what else we got here? For a 12-inch, what would be the best all-around speaker? Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's hard to pick one. You know, I sort of think it seems like for some people, and it's an imperfect solution probably, but a V30 is kind of like a common that you'll find because it's got some upper mids and stuff. So people kind of will tend to like that more for clean sometimes than a greenback. But then when you overdrive it, it still sounds like a Celestian. Best all around speaker. I mean, some people, depending on your style of music, might think an EV, you know, 12L or something that, you know, there's just more of everything that were designed to be a really efficient, clean, reproduce everything. Of course, it's still a 12-inch speaker, so it only goes up to like 5K and it starts rolling off, I'm sure. This new sugar cone speaker that I'm going to try soon, supposedly, you know, it's kind of maybe in the same way like a no ribbed cone. So it's like, you know, it's supposed to be very clean and reproduce accurately, you know, what's coming out of your amp. So we'll give that a try and see. But your mileage may vary. For me, I found actually the Celestian Creamback 75 was a great all-rounder. Handles 75 watts. That's nice. High power handling. And it seems to work well clean, seems to work well dirty. Kind of seemed like everything was there. When we tried them originally when we did the PT100, we tried them in the horizontal 212. That's right. Two of them together just sounded like, yeah, it's all there. It's powerful. We can hear everything. The clean channel sounds great. The dirty channel sounds really good too. Yeah. Nice. Steve says, any chance of doing some punk rock with CRS as it's like 50 years of UK punk to 2026? I just don't think it's really the crowd. I love it. I mean, I love Sex Pistols and, you know, Clash and stuff, but it'd be cool to do some Clash actually. But it's a little polarizing when you got a bunch of Led Zeppelin fans there too. I feel it's hard because we run into this every year. Like, how do you please everybody? You know, personally, I think Total Eclipse of the Heart is not a rock song. You know, but it's very popular, evidently. You know, if you watch if you look at CRS, sort of whatever statistics we can get with Classic Rock Show, a lot of people like that song, and I'm always like, okay, I really don't like playing it, but it's a great song. I just don't think it's it's my idea of rock is Thin Lizzy, right? Or, you know, Led Zeppelin or Rush or like whatever. But, you know, can you do? Can't please everybody all the time when you got a classic rock show because it's all over the map. But I don't think of maybe the Clash more than the Sex Pistols, but I really don't think of them as a rock and roll band. I think of them as their own entity, and there's definitely that punk thing. And I just don't think that that's our audience as much as, I could be wrong. I don't know. You'd have to play like London Calling or something and see what happens, you know. And I love it. I mean, it's not that I don't. I like it, but I'm just wondering if it's right for the band. Yeah. Laundry after the show. Now that's the rock and roll lifestyle. Yeah, it's all glamour out here all the time. I tell you what. I don't usually get that excited for laundry, but imagine if you couldn't find it and you were in a town. You're like, I've got no clean socks and underwear. You'd be bummed, right? It'd be your only concern, trying to find some damn clean laundry that day. So the more you can do laundry on the road, you know, the more days you can go without needing to hunt down, you know, you know what I'm saying? It's just like anything that gets me closer to the day I get back home when I can do laundry at my house. Yeah. Free laundry on tour is a massive score. Yeah, I mean, in Germany with That's Vibe, for example, in Germany, I can clearly remember going to find a laundromat and finding a woman that spoke no English in Munich and having to figure out the machine and get the soap out of the, you know, but being glad because it meant I could go another 10 days or whatever, you know, without having a hunt. So there's not a lot of venues in Europe that have laundromats. There is in England. But once you get out there, I found it was a little more difficult, probably because we were doing more like sheds and amphitheaters and old theaters and things, outdoor venues and things where like bigger gigs. In England with Classic Rock Show, we'd be doing a theater show, and sometimes those places, you know, like this place or a big club or something, they'll have a laundry machine. This is really boring for people that want to hear about guitar stuff. But these are the things that we do on tour. I should go, guys, because it's about I got about just a few minutes. I got to go down and make sure my stuff is cool down there. Thanks for chatting with us, says Todd. We are glad you're here. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Any just looking through the chat here, any last kind of comments and whatnot. Yeah. Reading. Anyway, the comments got a little political, but let's not get political on my show. That's all I ask for. I don't want to go there. This show stays away from that. So anything that kind of where it's a polarizing thing, you know what I mean? That's not the vibe that I ever want to have here. So and we can all hang with that, right? Let's talk about our shared love of guitar stuff and music, and yeah, you know what I mean? And keep it that way. You know, that's all I ask. You know, because it's been politics, religion, anything that's, you know, we just talk about guitar and music here and things that pull us together. You know, that's the vibe here. So that's all I ask for. You know, when you sign Braxall's guitar, put all our names on it. Of course. Fill the hole. I'm sure he'll love that. Fill the back. And you reminded me he's going to be here in probably 20 or 30 minutes. So I'm going to go see if I can find a good pen for such a thing. I like to use a paint pen for those, not a Sharpie. You know, if there's a more like a silver, you know, one of those paint pens. Those are better usually. Then you can sign a back plate or inside of a plate or even headstock or whatever. And I just feel like I don't know, if it's got to be a black pen that works, I guess, but it's not ideal, I don't think. All right, blah, blah, blah. Next week, you guys, I think I'll be a day or two away from going home. Let me just take a look at the calendar. Yeah, it'll be the 24th. That'll be actually the last gig in Spokane, Washington. And then I'll be headed home on the 25th, Monday. So I'll try and do one of these around the same time. Should be similar. I think your schedule seems to be this every day where I've got until at least 3 o'clock like it is now here. So yeah, I'll try and do a similar. We'll be on the West Coast though. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem to 11:45 or noon. Might set up a live stream for noon next week actually. Just because I sleep a little later these days on the old bus. Or maybe later. Could be 1:30 in the afternoon. So I'll put it up a day before, like I did with this one, so you can see the time. And I hope to see some of you there. Thanks for bearing with me throughout the time changes and all that. And thanks for hanging with me. And I appreciate it. Appreciate you all. Be nice to one another. Have a great week. Love you all. Take care.